in the AWS Academic Cloud Foundation. I will start the recording now. I'll start the recording now. Okay. So for these 2 weeks, the main focus for these 2 weeks actually is the cloud deployment. But to get the cloud foundations, actually I didn't post any lecture notes, any quizzes or lab exercises, because I assume that these 2 weeks we are using the materials from AWS Academy Cloud Foundation. So far, if you have it for if you have received my invitation so far, I think all the students have received the invitation except one student, and this is actually also part of your individual assignment. So for this, you can utilize the lecture materials. They have video, they have they also have videos, they also have every module, they will have knowledge check, and there are also 6 labs included and some lab activities that you can try. But of course, there are in the past also there are some issues with the lab activities that you may also encounter, because I'm not sure whether they already fixed the problem or not. Because previously, I think some of the students in last semester, there are some students that have problem with some activity. You may also encounter the same one if they haven't fixed the issue yet. But so far, all the 6 labs are working fine. So if you, that's why I'm not going to post any materials, because all the materials, you can get the teaching video here, and if you click student guide, you can go through you can see if you don't want to spend time on the video, at least you can go through the PowerPoint slides, the lecture notes for each module under student guide. If you go to student guide, you will be able to see the slides. And in the slides also, you will be able to see there are some notes under the slides also to give some of the slides, they will give further explanation under the notes. Okay, it is easier for, especially if you are planning to sit for certification exam, and you also need to go through the slides again to build up your foundation again to ensure that you can truly understand all the concepts teach in the 10 modules. So a lot of times that there are more explanations actually added in the notes section. So this is how you can utilize the each module. So each module, of course, for the lab also, I think so far when I check the submissions for the certificate of completion, so far there are already 41 students completed this. So but they are still 54 students, 58 students not yet completed. So for these 2 weeks, I won't give additional lab exercises, so that you can focus on these teaching materials and complete them. So once you completed, even if you didn't complete right, you have to let me know. But of course, for those who have completed, you will straight away get the 20 marks. And you can also upload your certificate of, you have to claim your badge, and also create a new account in the Credly Acclaim in order to get your badge. And also you can also print the certificate of completions from the Credly Acclaim website. So this is due by 25th June 2021. This one I want to remind again. So for this is contribute to 20 marks. If you can complete straight away, you can get the 20 marks for this individual assignment, which replace the final exam. The total marks for final exam is 50 marks. 20 marks come from this individual assignment to complete the AWS Academic Cloud Foundations. You have to complete in the Cloud Foundations, they are knowledge check. Just remind again. So for all each module, right, you have to do the you have to complete the knowledge check, and for each knowledge check you have to score at least 80%. So once you have done, you can see a tick here for those who have completed. So something like this. If you have completed the lab or completed any modules, you will be able to see that there is a tick here if you achieve at least 80%. And even if you didn't manage to get 80%, you can repeat again until you get 80%. It is unlimited. So you can see once you complete the module 1, it will show this module is complete when you can meet at least 80%. Okay. So because if you can't remember everything, so you can also, for those students who haven't done the knowledge check, another tips is you can open the student guide in another page. So when you come across any questions that you can't remember the details already, you can refer back to the student guide for the notes to do some checking. Or you can also Google the AWS site, because some of the information is actually also available officially in the AWS website. So you can either open the student guide when you are doing the knowledge check for you to at least do the checking on the questions that you are not sure. So this is at least you can speed up your through the trial. Let's say if you for the first time you didn't manage to get 80%, then you can, when you repeat the second time, you can open the student guide together in order to do it. So once you completed, they are starting from module 4. There are also some lab. So lab 1 is related to how you can set up the security configurations using the identity and access management. So from here you will know how to create the root account, how to create the security group, how to create the normally. Just a reminder again, for those who have done this, I think you will already know that normally root account, we only use it to create other accounts like admin accounts or other accounts, create security groups and handling the billings. For other times, right, if you need admins, right, you create another administrator account. So don't expose your root account details to other people. So for those, if you have done this, you will know that actually there are a few steps. They also you also will have experience to how to use it. So far, for those students, if you have not done the lab before, you have to click lab. For those students that haven't started the work, or maybe you make sure that before you start doing the lab, go through the lab instruction first. My tips is you go through the lab instruction first, know what you're supposed to do. So for example, for this lab 1, the focus is the AWS identity and access management. Normally they will tell you that what you will do in this lab. You will see that you will create accounts, you will create admin accounts and 2 support, which include the admin groups and 2 support groups and 3 users account. So you also will learn how to write the policy, and the policy will give different access to the EC2. So we'll give, we also will, and which user will be given the access based on the policy. So you can see this is normally they will give the diagram. So from here you can see they also give you instructions. Before you start doing the lab, remember you click the start lab, because when you click this button, they will start to set up the sandbox environment for you. So once you see the lab status ready, then you can click AWS. When you click this button, it will create a sandbox environment to you. Okay, so this is something that I just now, once you have launched it, then you will be able to see a sandbox environment like something like the real environment. So this is some things that you can go through the lab to learn to go through instructions. So far, the instruction is quite clear, because when I did it on my own, when I went through the lab before, I also I didn't have much issues to do the labs. So far, do you anyone have problem with the lab or not? is there any students have have problem with the lab so far? For those who have not completed, do you have any issues with the lab exercises? If you have, you can raise your hand now, and if you got any problem, then at least I can you can approach me personally if you have any issues. So far, this is once you complete all the lab, once you start the AWS to go to the sandbox and to go to the sandbox environment, you follow the instructions to do the work. So once you finish everything, then click the end lab. So follow the instruction, click the end lab and click yes to end the lab. Then they will delete all the things that you have initiated. Okay, so basically this is to let you try the each labs they already, this is guided lab that they already give you the informations. So starting from, because before you can start doing anything, if you notice that their first lab is related to the IM, the cloud security. Before they ask you to do other things, the first thing that they ask you to do is how to set up the security. So far, I think for those, especially those students who have completed, in this, I won't go through so much details. Later, because I remember, let me double check in the lab. So the lab one will go through the AWS IM. So far, in the 10 modules, the first one will give you the cloud concepts. Concepts to introduce why do we need cloud computing, how you what are the benefits, advantages. This is just to allow you to understand why people are moving to the cloud now. And next, they will explain to you how AWS, what is the total cost of ownership. So which one will be, if you look at the total cost of ownership, you'll be able to know what are the services that the ownership is, which one, who will, some of the things actually will be handled by AWS, but some actually is the ownership belongs to for us to do the handlings. So there are also some other billing and cost management tools that they shows you. So these are this one basically they give you to understand, and they do a comparison to tell you, because if you, in the traditional way, when we want to deploy a system, right? Normally, if in a big organization, they will have their own server to do the deployment. For example, like in UM, I know a lot of students you will complain about the e-learning system. There's also one issue. Actually, UM we have our own servers. We host the e-learning system in our own server, and of course we did propose to them and ask them to consider to use the cloud. But so far, because of all the infrastructure that they had in the lab, if you remember, you have when you go through, I think one of the, let me show one of the slides. I won't go through all the slides again because most of you already go through the lecture. But if you remember, there are also the advantages, this and that things. Okay. Okay, so one of the things that if you have, especially for those who already went through the slides, actually a lot of times that we will think that a lot of companies, if they still using the traditional approach, they will feel that they if they keep the servers, keep all their infrastructure in the premise like UM, so they will feel that they can control their costs, they will know what servers they are using, they have data security, everything, and that they think. But a lot of times that we can't support the increase. Like for example, I think all of you have experienced that sometimes, let's say especially during the quiz hours or when a lot of students are using the e-learning system, we have experienced that the student cannot access the e-learning system or the system is down. But of course now you can see we have less issues now. But of course, if when we propose cloud to them, normally the questions that we get from the PTM or from the they will tell us that they don't have budget for this because they already spend all their budget on the premises. So that's why actually it is actually the cloud approach. Sometimes if you do the cost analysis when you maintain your own servers, everything, because in your server you also need to have more database servers, this and that, to in order to cater for all the submissions from the students. At the same time, when there's a lot of students access the website at the same time, your system still can be available or not, how many users you can support. So this is depends on some of the peak time. Like now is end of the semester, there are more quizzes or more assessments going on. So this is actually why people are going to cloud, is because we can pay for the services that we need. But a lot of times that when the organization still handled by people that have traditional thinking, they will still think that they would feel that on premises is still a better investment. But I think when you go through their comparison of the billing dashboard or cost and management, you can see how they do the comparison. A lot of times that if they have a chance to go through this kind of billing and costing, they might find that actually when they maintain all the infrastructure, they they can't. But first thing, the cost might be higher when they when they support their own infrastructure. And another thing also, they can't cater for the load that needed for the system anymore. So I think Maya also you have experience using this. But so far, if in future, I hope we will move to cloud, of course. For module 3, at this one, so far, global infrastructure overview, if you look at, I hope you will be able to, because a lot this is if you are may I know how many of you interested to sit for the certification exam? If you are interested, can you just raise hand? So I also create a survey in the, if you go to this week's section, I created a survey here under the week 12. So for the students who are interested to sit for the AWS certified cloud practitioners, I added some details here. It consists of 65 questions. It's either multiple choice or multiple responses. So it's due to COVID pandemic, so you have to use the online portal system exam. So for those, if you are interested, right, you answer these. I have put three choices, yes, maybe or no. At least you let me know, and I want to see who are the students interested. Then later I can contact you again during the semester break when I want to give briefing about the certification exam and give tips on the certification exam. For those who are interested, I will issue a 50% discount, because UM are not going to pay for the exam. But if you personally you want to get the certification, then you answer this survey and let me know. I can contact you again to confirm whether you are really interested or not. Then I give a briefing. If you truly want to prepare for the exam, then only I issue the 50% discount voucher for you to register for the exam. So this is a closed book exam, not open book, closed book exam. They will use an online portering system to monitor to invigilate the examination. So this one, if any one of you interested, you can click here to give me your response. So if, let's say, for the students who are interested to know one of the commonly things that they want once everybody's to get clear, you will get a lot of questions related to the concepts of exact. So this is something that you must make sure that you are very clear with how the how they do, what are the concept of regions. So by now, for the students that have gone through this, I believe that you should be able to understand the concept of regions. So in terms, I will just highlight some of the things that I feel is important here, because normally these are also some common things that they will ask in the exam as well. So this one, I think most of you already understand about the for AWS. One of the this one is the one of the things related to the infrastructure is you will be you from if you the most updated one related to their infrastructures, how many availability zones they have. So all these you can get from their official website. In the videos or in the lecture notes that you have gone through, normally they only give you the one that they have when they prepared for the lecture notes, how many they have. So if you see here, at the moment they have 25 regions that has been selected to be the that they have created for in the whole world. So you can see they are in this diagram. They shows you the one that is in the red color are all the regions. So if you remember when you do the lab, right, they will ask you to choose the region that you want. So of course, if we are deploying our website locally, the one nearer to us will be this Singapore. For example, Singapore is the nearest one. So you can check. Of course, every regions the cost that they for the services will be different. So you can go through the services that you want for this region. Like for example, if you want to deploy, create a new EC in this region, then we have to look at the pricing, all the pricings charged for this region, because different region they have different costs, but their center that is due to the different maintenance costs, different infrastructure costs that they will be used by for that particular country. So you can see the cost is actually different. So for the under the regions also, each of the regions also you will get the different, there will be different availability zones available for us to see. So you can see, like, so at the moment you can see there are some of the there will be some new regions added in future, some potential one. But so far, Malaysia is not selected for the region. You can see there are some new regions that they are going to launch soon in this in the red color. So for you to know the latest informations, you have to come to the AWS Global Infrastructure Map. So region is important because the costing and also some services not available for this region. And there are, of course, there are also some issues that and some of the issues like the data issues, that if let's say now you are deploying a system for Malaysian government, sometimes Malaysian government they have some policies that the data cannot due to some data security issues, you cannot we may not there are certain things that we have to follow in order to select the services and also select the region for the system that you are going to deploy. So this is important when you go through the infrastructure. You have to understand how the infrastructure work and all the concepts. Okay, so this is basically in the website in the lecture notes. This may not be the latest one because they will be updated regions and updated execs. Okay, so you can see if we go to the global infrastructure, we will be able to see the region, the availability zones for points of presence. So all these regions, we have to make sure that we choose the right regions. And of course, the nearer the region to us, supposedly the connections also will be faster. So you can see this is a sample that once we choose a region, we can also choose how many availability zones that we want to create. So every we want to choose we want to deploy our system, we can choose to deploy on in one exec only. But of course, if you want to increase the availability, you can you can deploy in multi exec. So you can see for under each region, they will have at least one availability zone available. Then each exec they will have at least 3 data centers to make sure that they have duplications of the data. So they also give you some informations of these. There are also some now this is not the latest one. There are more points of presence locations, the edge locations, because this is important when you are using the CloudFront, the CDN, so they can give you the fast access. So all these infrastructure things for cloud foundations, one thing important is we need to know how to choose the right region for our system when you do the cloud deployment. And if you have the budget, you can have the multi exec to increase the availability. Then you can actually, when you deploy, right, you can choose to have a multi availability zone. So this is to replicate our data to increase the availability and also make sure that we can do some backup. So I think when you go through the later lectures related to cloud deployment for the cloud computing, you can see that when we have different execs, we can also use some of the servers or some of the EC as a backup, or some of the storage, S3 storage as a for us to do some backup. So these are some of the foundational services. They have some applications, database, some application services, some deployment management, mobile services. So these are the most important. The one that you are learning in these cloud foundations is you learn how to create the EC2, the compute resources, and also how to do some of the network configurations on cloud, how to create like new storage like S3. So basically, when you do cloud, when you go through this course, or when you think about cloud, right, you just reflect everything that you have learned in the traditional way. Like for example, when you have if let's say you need to have a server, what do you need to have? We need to have the compute resources. So normally, if you have a servers, you need to ensure that how much memory you have, how fast is your processors, and what are the operating system you are going to use. All this is under the EC2 compute. And the networking, how fast is the network that you need, and there are also a lot of rules that you need to know how to do the network configurations. So if you just imagine that when you study, right, and when you go through the course and study the course, you just put whatever you already know in the traditional way. But now we just move everything to go to under the cloud. So you won't be confusing if you do like this. And storage, basically, normally in the normal traditional way, when we have our own infrastructure, of course, in your PC also you will have your own hard disk or own storage. But of course, when you go to the cloud one, they will allow you to store as objects, store as log, and you can also archive your data. So the concepts, actually a lot of concepts you already learned in computer science, but now we just have to move your understanding to change it to the cloud environment, and how you can do it using all the services provided by AWS to do this configuration, to configure the compute resources that you need, the EC tools that you need, what are the sizes, and the networking. You have to how do you configure the network for your system, what is the storage. So I just want to show you a sample diagram. So normally, of course, this is a professional website. This is an example of cloud architecture for a website that have utilized the services that some services that can be used to deploy web applications. So you can see actually it started from just a static website on S3. So later I will do a demonstration on how to deploy a static website on S3. So later I will show you a quick demo on how to do this. So because this is actually one of the things that you can play around, you can do it without much configurations of EC2. You don't need to configure a lot of things for the database yet. So later I will show you this part for the static website on S3, and later you can also try using the sandbox. But if you have free account, of course you can also try that. You can see from this large architecture. So we have the users that will communicate with our web applications to do. They can do. There are a lot of things that the users. When we deploy the website, we are interacting with our users. But at the back end, right? If you deploy everything on cloud, there are actually a lot of things that you can do to to support your applications. There are different services, but all these are, you don't need to have your own infrastructure, but everything is actually on cloud, and there are different services that can be used. The simplest one, if let's say we only have a static website, we can utilize the S3 storage. So later I will show you if you use S3, when you create a S3 storage, you can they have a service that very easy for you to deploy the static website. So you can this is the simplest one when you want to deploy. But this is static, not dynamic. That means you don't have anything that will connect to the server-side scripting. Just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay. So this is later I'll do the quick demo, and you can see that they in this example of architecture. This is actually a sample to demonstrations for the applications that used by a cafe. They have actually developed a web applications to support their for their own business. So they have create applications for the customers who use their system to place order in their cafe. So you can see in this example, they have actually for this cafe, when they deploy their website on cloud, they slowly, initially they only have a static website just to introduce the cafe. Then sooner or later they increase more, they utilize more and more services on cloud to increase the usage of their applications to become a dynamic website. Then more things has been added. And they have selected a region. So normally, once you have to do any cloud deployment, you have to remember we must have a region. We must select the region that we want to deploy your applications. So if we are using if you have free account, your free tier account that you created in AWS, you can, of course, you can choose the regions. You can check the costing and choose the region that you want to do the trial. If not, just when for those students that if you have completed all the labs and you want to just play around with the AWS services, go to sandbox environment, click here. Once you click here, and you same thing. This is the one that I already launched. You go to you click the sandbox environment, then it will give you the similar things like how you always do the lab. So once you come to the sandbox, you can see that they already told you that there are some restricted services and some usage that you are allowed to use to play around with the AWS services. But if they found there's any violations or anything, they will stop and terminate your services and kick you out. So if you are just using their free tier usage, like for example, when you want to play around with the Amazon EC2, you can launch these are the one that you are allowed to launch for your testing purpose. For EBS volumes, you can choose up to 35 GB, and you can choose the type general purpose SSD. So this is to set up EC2 what they allow you to do. For AMIs, they support you for Linux and Windows AMIs. Okay, so you can before you do the play around with it, you go through what they support you. Like for example, the instant quantity, they allow you to launch up to 9 instances. So this is using the lab. If you launch more than that, your lab account will be suspended. So remember, we have some. They let you play around, but also got limitation. Don't simply exceed it. They will suspend your account, your lab account. But if you have finished your and get complete complete your get your certificate of completions, then it's fine. But if you haven't done, you still need to do your the 6 labs. Don't simply do something that exceed the limit. So they also allow you to use the EC2 auto scaling, ELB, Lambda, S3, Glacier, RDS. So for RDS, if you want to play around with RDS, then you make sure that these are the DB instance size that you are allowed. The EBS volumes, that the volumes of the database that you are allowed. So you have to make sure that, of course, this is a sandbox, so they don't allow they won't support you to use the multi-exit deployments. So it is not supported, and we can only choose the development test. Okay, we choose the development test instead of production. So this one is this is for when you want to play around with the RDS. So they also give you let you try the DynamoDB IM, but rate on only access. You can also try Formation, CloudWatch, SNS, Route 53, CloudFront, CloudTrails, KMS, tagging. So these are some basic one that you can try. Same thing, if you want to play around with the sandbox, you click Start Lab. Then wait for it to show, and you wait until they shows it's already ready. Then you can click AWS, then you can come to this environment. So later I will use this to show you how to use the S3 to deploy a static website. So this is I already tried once for the demo purpose. Just now I have, this is one of the, this is a sample. Okay. So this is a sample that I deployed, but using our lab exercises. So, but this is the static one, the one that without the. Okay, so this is the one that I already deployed on the cloud on S3 side. But if you want to click, you can click and have a look. But later I will go through the steps how I did it. But it's very quick. If you only deploy the static one, is the files really very fast for us to do it. So this one, this is the one that I did using the sandbox, so that because I want to test whether for any students that even if you don't have the free account, then you can try using the sandbox. But of course, if you already have your own account, like for example, like I also have some my own AWS account, then I also can do it on my account. That one later I will show you my my account. So basically, if you see in this infrastructure, of course you choose the region that let's say if you are doing it in Malaysia, of course we want to choose the region that is closer to us. So in the region, if you only deploy static website, you can the S3 has a service that can help us to deploy static website very fast. Then if you are going to have other services, other things, you can create a VPC. So this is a virtual private cloud. This will give us our own space, and this, when we say cloud is secure, because everything we have our account, we will only us will have the access to our own virtual private cloud. So when we create the virtual private cloud, we can decide how many availability zone. A lot of times to save cost, some of the business or some organization, they will just started using one to choose one availability zone only. Then they will start to do some deployment. You can see that here actually when you started to configure your VPC. By default, normally you won't have no one, because no one can access it. So in order for any users or any other services to access our system or our application, this and that, we will create a internet gateway here as a point of to allow us to at this gateway we can do the network configurations to give the access, who is allowed to access which services they are allowed to access, or normally to do the log. If let's say your systems are getting more and more popular and more users are accessing, you can also apply what they call application load balancer. This one I think you already learned in your in some of the modules. So the application load balancers, when our traffic increase, we can utilize this service to the load balancer to balance the you can see here we have two EC2, right? So they can balance a lot. And this one also, they are we can also apply the Amazon EC2 auto scaling. So this will help us to know how many EC2s needed by us. We can if you look at the lecture notes, there are more, of course there are more details that you can see for which usage, and there are also some of the, we also can do the auto scaling to do some setting, like let's say when our usage we can set something like, let's say when we found that we already utilize 80% of the processing, we can create one or two more instances. We can duplicate the instances. So very fast that we can the Amazon, the AWS, they can automatically create the instances for us to duplicate the instances and increase the processing power. So this can be done using the auto scaling. So you can see initially, if you have two availability zones, the benefits, of course, for multi-AZ, this will increase the availability and also can allow you to do some backup. If you see in this example, there are two availability zones, both also create a public subnet that you can see that we also have a net gateway for us to do the network configuration and to allow us to control the access to all the instances that we have. So normally we will have a private subnet that because we want to secure everything that we have in our cloud, we won't simply allow anyone to access our instances, because all these instances, they are we have deployed our services there, we have our data stored there, so we don't want anyone to simply access it. So you need to learn how to in the Cloud Foundations, they have teach you how to create security groups. How that's also one of the reasons why we shouldn't give away our root account, because your root account can do everything that anyone admin account and some security groups to secure the access and allow only the right person to be authorized to access the right part. So for example, let's say it is sometimes we also will have multi-AZ, and one will be production. For productions, that means you already deploy and go live the system. Another one can be the development or testing purpose. So this depends on how, of course, your organizations, your company must have someone who are familiar to do the deployment for you, to deploy these servers for you. But typically for web applications, of course, this one I just give an introduction of this in the Cloud Foundations. The focus, you will know how you will learn how to create the VPC, how to launch your EC2 instances, how to configure the internet gateway, NAT gateway, how to do the mapping of your to the right instances to give authorizations. I think you also have one of the lab shows you how to do the database thing and the how to use their file system. So in the Cloud Foundation, your focus is understand each of these services and how it works together. But of course, you won't look at so much about the architecture. To the one that I'm sharing here will be a bit more than what you're supposed to. You will cover in the cloud foundation, because this is actually the part that will go after you complete your cloud foundations. The next stage actually you can go to cloud architecture. So in the cloud architecture modules, you will have labs that allow you to do some. There are some guided lab and also some challenge lab for you to learn how to how to plan for your cloud architecture. Of course, main thing is still the usage, your business need, the requirements of your applications, your business, and then you deploy it. The best architecture that will support your system, can ensure the quality of your system. So if you see in this example, you can see they have multi-EXE. They also have public, each exec, they have their own private subnet. You can see they have exec duplications here. So they can ensure the backup. They also can ensure that anything happen to these, any devices or instances here, anything down, they can quickly switch to another exec. If anything happen to this exec, you won't, we can still continue our business, still launching. So this is the good things about you do everything on cloud, because everything you can configure, or you can launch a new instances very fast, and you can also set up the auto scaling, so that you know that what is the limit that you know that you have to start launch more instances to support your system, so increase the processing power. So this is the auto scaling. This is actually the architecture diagram used in the next stage of the cloud academy, which is cloud architecture. So this one for the web applications, for the web programming, my objective is to let you learn about the cloud concept, so that when you come to the final year, I hope I still have a chance to teach you for final year. Then I can have a chance to introduce the cloud architecture modules to you, and also I'm still working on it to so that I can use their teaching materials for the cloud architecture. So in future, if I'm teaching software architecture or other final year courses, then again I can invite you to AWS Academy platform to pick up to continue your lessons for cloud architecture. So for those who are interested, of course, I hope that you complete this course properly, get a good cloud foundations. Then if you have a chance to go to the architecture level, then this is the part that you will really know how the web programming course. Of course, my focus is to teach you how to program the web applications. But when we go to architecture side, for today's lecture, I just want to highlight some of the important thing of the cloud architecture, and how you decide which services you want to go for, how you design the architecture. This is also another level of the more on the deployment concept, more on the cloud, more on the architecture aspect already. So so you can see from here, we also can include some elastic cache. All these will improve the accessing, because we can see we have RDS here as a primary instance. You can see in this example, right, they have a primary instance. So this will be the main relational database that they use to store their information. But of course, in case anything happen to this RDS, this instance, they have a standby instance. Anything happen, will switch to this immediately. So in the cloud architecture labs, for further learning, you will also learn how to, you will be also given a chance to learn all these concepts and how to do the setup for the standby instance. So this is the cache will allow us to, you can, some of the frequently accessed database informations, or the tables or some records, we can actually use this elastic cache for this. So of course, everything they will have some pricing, but for applications that need to have a very provide quick access, need to have a very fast response time, all these will contribute to improve the performance of your system. the availability of your system. So this is also one of the service that can be used to allow those frequently accessed records can be stored here temporarily to improve the fast access. All this is at the architecture level, the one that we can improve. So for some, they also for Amazon, they also can have their own file system. We can have the utilize the Amazon EFS service. So we can, of course, you can mouse the target at your availability zone, your subnet, so that we can store the files using the Amazon EFS. So all this is a simple cloud architecture just to show you that there are different services that we can use in order to set up a more proper deploy a system on cloud with a good availability. So this is in the architecture aspect that you can have a look at this diagram. I would like to share to you. This is not something that this is not part of your Cloud Foundations syllabus, but just to share you as an additional thing, since you are already you are going to learn the foundations thing, so just to put everything that you have already learned in your 10 modules, because in the 10 modules that you have, you learn your infrastructure, how the infrastructure works, the concept of region. Under the region, we can create our own virtual private cloud. In our virtual private cloud, we can choose the normally, of course, the simple one. We'll choose one availability zone, and we'll create our public subnet and also private subnet there. Then for us to authorize the access to configure our network, we will utilize the gateways. So cloud security will help us to do the how to create the security groups, create the accounts on cloud. These are a lot of concepts. So once you learn this, right, remember if you have your own free tier account in AWS, apply whatever you already learned here to also secure your own account. Because make sure that you don't give your root account to other people to use it, because every service will include the cost. So don't simply give your accounts to other users. For in the networking and content delivery, you learn how to do the VPC networking, how to do the VPC security, and you also look at the service for Route 53, CloudFront, how you can use it. So this one actually will allow you to build your VPC and launch a web server for Lab 2. Compute. So we also need to know that even if you have your own server, the compute resources is important. So we need to know how to launch the EC2, the Amazon EC2 instances. So each instances actually they will ask you to choose your the operating system that you want. You want to use Linux based, or you want to use Windows based, and what are the memory you need, what is your processing power that you plan to have. So they are in the EC2 you will be able to choose that. So they also give you the lab to give you a practice how to launch EC2. So of course for free tier we will have limited. So the container services, they also the AWS Lambda. This is the one that you can. You also have a activity here, and also some introductions to some services like AWS Lambda and Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk also related to how you can apply this for web applications. So there is an activity here. But if this doesn't work right, then you can use use the sandbox. There are some. If you search for AWS Elastic Beanstalk, they also have some step-by-step guide to teach you how you can deploy web applications using the Elastic Beanstalk. There are some tutorial that you can follow. There are some simple ways that they teach you how to use it. But of course, here they also got a simple activity. But I'm not sure this one is working or not, because some students there are some activities I remember there are some issues that you may not be able to use the activity, but you can try. If it doesn't work, then you try to repeat it using the sandbox. For storage, of course, you will have to choose how you want to store your data. So in this example, you will learn how to the differences between EBS, EFS, even how you get the concept of how to you store as a block or store as an object, like using S3 is an object. Using EBS will be you will store in block. The differences of these two. So this one, all this you will learn in the for our when we do EC2, right? In EC2, we will use the they will allow us to choose what are the EBS that we need. So for S3, normally when we have a temporary storage, or when we have just a small storage, that we will store as objects. So there are also some limitations of how many objects you can store or how large is the size. All this, and you can check from the lecture notes, or you can check from the AWS. Of course, all these also will come with different pricing. So this is related to the storage. So important thing, you have to understand the differences of the EBS, S3, EFS, and also if you remember that we actually can do the transitions for the data. Also, if there are some infrequent data, we can also move them to other storage plan. So you can see that there is this is if you are going for the certification exam, this is also one of the popular questions. They will ask you like what are the applications that we should choose, which type the processing power. It depends on, like for example, like EC2, the applications wise. For storage also, how we will decided to how we can configure the plan to decide, like maybe after 1 year. We will move it to Glacier, S3 Glacier for storage, or for as a backup, or for audit purpose. Sometimes we have to store the data for a long time, but since it's infrequent access, so actually we can go for a cheaper storage. For databases, of course, and when we want to build a database server, this is in this lab they give you a guide. This one for those who want to practice. If you haven't tried the lab yet, you can try this lab at least to get familiar with how to build a database server. This one. Okay, so this is this one, because I'm not sure for my this one. I think I'm using another. Let me see. Okay, they will teach you how to build your DB server, how you interact with your DB using app. So this is some of the things that they will teach you how to do the configurations, how to create your own security group. So normally we don't want anyone to access your database easily. We will create security group to only add users that have authorizations to access it. So these labs are actually quite they are guided labs, so very easy for you to follow and to create a security group to secure your access. So from here you can at least you can learn how to the experience how you can set up a simple database. So you can try this, because some when you use the sandbox, sometimes they don't allow us to do some creations, and in the lab they already give you very clear things. So let's say if you want later you want to combine different things that you want to learn in the lab in the sandbox, you can at least go through the lab instruction again to make sure that you remember how to create the security group, so you can refresh your memory again when you want to try play around in the sandbox. And the lab also can be repeated. Even if you have completed, you want to try again, you can always try it. So they give you some guidelines. Normally when you want to configure the database server, make sure you create a security group to secure the access. You can also create a DB subnet group to recite your database, to ensure that DB and also create the Amazon your DB instances. Integrate how you create the interactions, so how you configure and open the web applications to configure it to use the database. So this one, because the lab already have all these, I hope that you all can try the lab. And then after that, of course, you can repeat the steps using Sandbox and try it with your own applications just to play around. At least you can get familiar, or you can follow the process in your own free tier account. But remember to refer back to this, because this is actually the guides that they give to the new cloud users or new cloud architects. So at least they know how to do the configurations correctly. So these labs actually, they are quite useful. So I hope even when you do your own things, because sometimes when you do the lab for one time, right, you already forgot how to do it. So make sure you come back and do it. Even I myself, when I want to do something, I still come back to these labs to refer back to their steps, or jot down what I need to do for my own testing purpose. For cloud architecture, this one, that basically the focus is the principles. So for each of these also, if you want to go for exam, these are also important. You know how to differentiate the all these principles, and also how there are also some there are some best practices that they suggested. So you need to remember this when you go for architecture level. These principles actually also important for us to will be applied in the architecture design. For auto scaling and monitoring, the last one, they introduced the elastic load balancing, how to use CloudWatch and EC2 auto scaling. So you can see from this, after you learn in the cloud foundations, to understand all these concepts, when you come to the cloud architect, you will be able to know how to put them together to build to propose a good architecture for web applications, that starting from the simple one until we will in the cloud architecture course, actually we will keep on adding. We will learn how to add different services to do all these configurations until this is the final architecture for the web application used by the cafe. So you can see they also have apply the Amazon CloudFront, Amazon Route 53, so they are to speed up the access to the web applications, and also to do to apply some security. So this is the overall sample architecture to demonstrate to you for the web applications. So far, for the students that have gone through the Cloud Foundation, do you come across any problems that when you are doing your work for the AWS labs or the knowledge test? Anyone got any issues or anything that you want to ask before I demonstrate how to host a static website using the S3? Any ask? Okay. So before I do the demonstration, because it's already 12 o'clock, back to shows you. I'm not sure whether I can give you the guidelines for the steps or not. Later, I want to search whether the one that I'm going to demonstrate to you, I will double check whether the AWS have the same step-by-step guide or not, or they publish online or not, because this is actually a guide taken from the AWS Academy Foundations from the Cloud Architect exercises, but they have some copyright issue. That's why I didn't put the steps in the. I didn't add this as the lab the steps in Spectrum due to the copyright issues. So, but later I will do a demonstration to you using the Sandbox. How I deploy the website that I just shared to you. So this is the one that we have done during the lab, a static website that we have learned in our lab until lab 6. So there are 4 pages for the menu and music. and the forms for the job application. Of course, this one is not connect to the database. So these are the static website that we have used in the lab. So later you can see this. This is the URL provided by S3 service, the static service. Later I will show you how I do it to quickly deploy a static website. So this one I can quickly show you because you don't need to create a EC2 database anymore. So later I think anyone when I show you, you will be able to do it on your own as well, using the sandbox even if you don't have your own account. Do you have anything to ask before I give you the 5 minutes break? Anything you ask or you want me to explain later for the cloud deployment? Or any examples that you want me to? Okay, I will give you a 5 minutes break now. Then come back. I will show you do the quick demo to show you how to deploy the static website. Okay, class. I will give you a demo on how to host a static website using the AWS service, the S3 service. Okay, so this is because I already started it, so that's why it links me to the to this console. So you this is the one that I just deployed. So now I will create another bucket to show you what I have done to make it public and also to upload my website content. But are you guys able to hear me clearly just now? Because I think my volume is set to quite low.
Yes, nice and clear.
Yeah, I increased to 100 because I didn't notice that I was I reduced the volume just previously for some other reasons. Okay, so now I will show you how we can quickly, if you have a static website, you just want to try, and this is the one that I already deployed. Now I show you how I did it. This is using the S3 service because S3, if you only want a static website, right? It is fixed content. We don't need any backend processing, so we just need to have HTML pages, images, style sheets, and all the files we need to render a website. So they are static because they are not. They do not. It is not that dynamic because do not use any server-side scripting or database. This is what we mean by static website. Keep in mind. Do not use for static website. We don't use any server-side scripting. We also don't need any database. So this is what we mean by static web pages. So these web pages, we only want to provide some interactivity and also, for example, if it is a cafe, this simple cafe, they can introduce their menu, what are the events that they have. Okay, so this is basically a simple website for the Java Jam Coffee. So later I will use another application to demonstrate to you. So for static website, we can easily host a static website on Amazon S3. S3 means simple storage service. We can upload the content. Once we convert it to publicly accessible, we will be able to launch the website. People will be able to access our website using the URL given generated by S3 and provided by AWS. Okay, so now they are. Before I demonstrate, I just type the steps in chat first. In the chat. So basically, this will include for this step. There are 4 main steps that we will do. Create a bucket in Amazon S3. So step 2, we will upload our content. The content include all the HTML, CSS. If you have any other files, also some image and etc. For the static website. Website to your bucket. In step 3, we will enable public access to the bucket object. This we will upload the files as an object to store in S3. Because S3 basically will store everything as objects. Then we need to update the website in order to make everything accessible. So these are three main steps, the four main steps that later I'm going to demonstrate to you. Okay, first we need to, so this is already in the environment for the students. If you are not yet start the lab, so once we come in, right, they will show us to, you will be bring to the what we call AWS. Once normally when they launch a sandbox, right, the first page that you will see is the AWS management console. So from here, we can choose the services that we want to try or we want to test, and then we will go to the page or the dashboard related to that service. So this is the management console dashboard. So in this is in this first page, you will see what are the recently visited services, and you can also look at what are all the services provided by AWS here. This is exactly same, like even if when you have your own AWS account, this is the same thing that you are going to see. So for in the sandbox, at least you can try first before you create your own account. You can have a feel that how this thing works, so that you won't be panicked. Because sometimes when you started to use your free tier account, they only give you some credits, and also you might be afraid that you will accidentally use something that will charge you, right? So before you go for this, you just want, when you just want to play around, you can use the sandbox. So remember, to use the sandbox, you scroll down, and after module 10, then you can come to this sandbox environment. When you click this, you will link you to this sandbox environment. You click Start Lab. You follow the steps here. Click Start Lab to do the setup. So you wait until you see the lab status in creation, or if you want to be safe, make sure that everything is ready. Then you wait until the lab status already ready. Then you can click AWS. Then you will launch you to this sandbox environment. So there are also some examples that they will show you how you can build a web app with Elastic Beanstalk. They also give you some shows you some of the to link you to the services, how you can get started, some guidelines to show you in. You can see from here. So these are some of the simple wizards that they have, how you can register a domain using the Route 53 virtual servers. These are some of the guidelines. This is the one that I'm going to demonstrate you how you can host a static web applications. So this one, let me see, I think, is it the same thing or not? So anything fundamentals, you can also see some guidelines here. Let me double check, is it same as what I'm going to demonstrate to you? So okay, so now what I'm going to show you is how to use the S3 service. We create a bucket, then use the hosting service provided by S3 to host a simple static website that we have learned in the lab. Okay, so when you come to AWS Management Console, you can type to search it, or if you already know, if you already use it before, you can click here, or you can come here to click also can, or you can click from here also can. You can click from here. This is under storage. S3 is under storage. Then you can click from here to go to S3. There are a few different ways that you can come here. If you don't want to use this way, you can also come to the all services and click here to come to the S3. So of course, if you have accessed this before, then this will becomes a frequent, the recently accessed one, you can quickly access it. So normally when you come to S3 console, it will show you how many buckets that you already created. So you can see, of course, all the storage will be charged. The pricing, you can always check the AWS one to find out the cost. Okay. So this one, S3 does not require region selection. So keep this in mind. S3 does not require the region selection. So when I come here, I already have one bucket for this. I call it a website -WIF 2003 because this is the one that I want to use this to deploy my static website. Now I will create a bucket. So when you create a bucket, give a name that is can reflect the usage of the bucket. So for example, now I'm going to I want to create one. This is later I will use it I'll use it to deploy another web applications. This is the one for my previous for the previous WIF classes 2003 classes. So I will just upload it to demonstrate to you. So I call the bucket name and website SE Cloud, and the regions I normally just choose the default one here since we are using the amount the sandbox. So I just choose this region. So if you because they are not everything, I think we cannot use all the. So let's say if I choose this one. Okay, so one thing is since I'm going to make to deploy the website, by default all the public access we shouldn't allow anyone to access your bucket. But since I'm going to use this to deploy my website, so I uncheck this. I unblock the public access because I want people to access my web application. So I unblock this. So when I unblock this, and I have to check to acknowledge that the current settings might result in this bucket because this bucket become public, anyone will have access to the people can access this easily. But since I'm using this to deploy my web applications as the static website, so I will just set it as a public because all the website content will be stored in S3. So I need to uncheck this and acknowledge that to make this as a this bucket as a public. So you okay. So these are just something simple. If you but because some of the services will not be we are not able to use it in the sandbox, so I just use the default one and create the bucket. Okay, so now I have a new bucket website SE Cloud. I choose the region for AWS Pacific. This one because the budget here we only choose the when we want to create, then only we choose the region. So we don't need to choose the region now. Okay, so when you come here, when you create bucket, then only you decide which region. So of course, if you want to know how much the S3 bucket pricing, then you can find out. Because different region will give different pricing, so you can see the storage, how much they charge us. So this one you can find out on your own. Okay, so this one, remember just now when I create the bucket, I uncheck the block all public access, unblock the all public access to allow later since we are going to deploy it. So after you have done this, now we need to do some setting in our bucket. So you click the bucket name that you just created. Okay, so come to I will let's say you can do some setting in the properties. Now you click properties. So for example, if let's say you want to do versioning, you can edit here to enable. But this one, I'm not sure when this is supported by the sandbox or not. So I'm not going to use it. I just use the simple one. So I add you can also add a tag to give some meaning for you to track the storage cost or anything. So let's say now since I'm having this website, the purpose is for my marketing, so I will charge the cost under the marketing department. So I can I add a tagging for the keys department, then the value I put marketing. So this is when I see the costing for this bucket, at least I know this website is for my marketing purpose. Okay, so you can if you scroll down, you have to scroll until the bottom, then you will come to static website hosting. So you have to by default is disabled. Now we want to enable it, so that we enable it. So we want to host a static website. So this will later they will give us an endpoints URL. The homepage, my homepage is index.html, so I specified here. So if you let's say this is also something that you can do it in future. Like let's say if there is any error, you can actually create an error.html page, so that if there is any error encounter, instead of showing them the forbidden or any message from the web server, you can actually have your own error.html document to show to people. But at the moment, although we don't have, I just put it here. But in future, you can add on this HTML file in your website, in your applications. So if anything happens, they will always link it to the error.html. So the important thing, you must specify your default page. For this application, we will use index.html. So we save the changes. Okay, so now this is the bucket overview. If you scroll down again to come to the static web hosting, right, you can see that they already give you the website endpoint URL. So if you copy this or you click here to open it, right, you will notice that now access denied. We still can't access it. And now we still have to do some configuration in order to host the static website. Now we still don't have the permission. Okay, so next thing we still need to we have to upload first of all, of course, we don't have any content in our bucket yet, in our storage bucket yet. So we have to you have to I will come back here again to upload the content. So we need to upload the content first, then make it as public so that people can access it, and your website will be accessible. So now if I will share this with you as well, so later you can also, now if you click my website, you are not able to access anything. You will see that this is forbidden, access denied. Okay, so now we will upload the content. You choose when you come back, when you click the website, the bucket, come to object tab. So come to object tab, you click the upload, so that they will allow you to upload the files that you want. So this is I will go to these are the sample. These are all the files that I'm going to upload. Okay, so there are some images files. There are 3 HTML pages and some image files. So this is a simple one. So once you have select the files, you click the upload button. Yeah, it is uploading now. It will take some time. There are 13 files, 2.4. Okay, this is uploading now. Okay, done. So now already done, right? You close it. Coming back to here, right? We still need another step. Even if you refresh here, you will still get the same thing. You still cannot see your website here. It's still not deployed properly yet. So you have to come here, select everything. So what do you need to do now? Remember there is an actions button here. So select all unless if there is any file that you don't want to show it to public, to make it, select all, click the action, make public. Okay, so I repeat again. So come back to objects. With this, after we upload it, right, you can see all the objects that you uploaded here. All the files that we uploaded is already here. There are 12 objects that we uploaded. Select all the objects, come to action, make public, make public. Okay, they also told you when public access is enabled and not blocked by block public access settings, anyone in the world can access the specified objects. So now everyone, they will give you ask you to read this before you, when you click this. Okay, you can see the notification message here, successfully edited public access. So when I close here, okay, so now actually I have changed all this to public. You refresh here again. Okay, you can see the website now. Software Engineering Cloud. So this is just a simple example to show you a quick example to show you. So if let's say you make, but remember that if let's say you make any changes to the file, so if you have changed anything, you have to again and re-upload the file. If you have edited any file, so for example now let's say now because the index we already have now let's say if you re-upload any file, right, you have to make it public again. So for example, let's see, let me check whether now this is the file in my computer for the index. So I try to do some changes. Try to upload it again. I just updated something. Let's see whether it works properly or not. If I now I will. Okay, I will re-upload the index. Already set it. Okay, so I re-upload this to the bucket. Okay, so you can see from here also this is the changes. I just make a changes so you can see the date also different already. And now if you refresh, you can see it's forbidden again. Once you make any changes, you upload a new file, right? Again, you have to repeat this action again. Keep this in mind. If you make any changes, you have to again come here to choose action. You select the file that you just updated. Select the file. For example, we just updated index, right? So I have to click make public again. Then now if you refresh, okay, then you come back, you can you already updated the file. Okay, you can see I just make the changes. Welcome to the website. I added this just now. So this is the latest one. Remember, when you update any file, you upload the updated version, they assume this is already override the original files, right? That means that your previously, although your old versions of the file, you already make it public, but once you upload anything new, right, the actions will be reversed back to not allowed to be public access anymore. So you have to remember to select the files that you just updated, uploaded, and choose make public again. So this one, do you have any question? So this is a simple way for you to deploy the static website. So this is the same thing that I have done for this website. So do you have any question to ask for this? Anything that you want me to repeat, or any part that you are not clear when I do the demo? Anything you want to ask for this one, for the static deployment? So clear, right? Okay. So if okay, you just show me the right, so at least I know you're all clear with this. You can go back and try to do it on your own. If you can launch a sandbox from session, you can get to look at the steps. So remember, they are you need to create the bucket. When you create a bucket, make it as to access and knowledge sheets. Okay, so after you upload the after you have the bucket, upload the content, upload all your files. So after you upload all the files, next thing you need to do is you have to make it public. Okay, so before of course, before you come to upload the content, remember to enable your remember to come to properties. So after you create your bucket, right, remember to scroll down and enable your static website hosting. You can get your website endpoints URL here. After you enable it, AWS will generate this for you, the endpoint URL. Then you can open it, or you can also copy it. Okay, so this is after you have done this, come back to objects, upload your content. So after you upload the content, select all your content, click action, make public. Then you refresh, you will be able to see your website is running properly. Okay, so this is just a quick demo to show you how you can quickly deploy a static on the AWS cloud. Okay, so far anything you want to ask for this demo? Okay, so if no question, everyone clear, right? Then show me the like button. So I just want to make sure everyone is clear with the steps of what I have just. Okay, thanks for the students that have a response. You can go back and try this, since you already tried, especially for students who have gone through the lab. I think this one, whatever I demonstrate to you, is quite easy. It will be quite easy for you. You can try that. Okay, so that one, okay, I have a few things that I just want to double check. Because the last 2 weeks we are conducting the class as e-learning. I have posted the teaching materials. Okay, so previous 2 weeks during the Raya, I have uploaded the databases. This is the lecture notes and teaching video, and also the demo for database. And last week we also have e-learning, and this is related to how to manage the state. The important thing, you will need to know how to create session. So session will allow us to have a customized, have a specific session channel for these users, and this so that we will separate this session from other user sessions. And these users will have a specific customized environment only for this user only when we are after they log in. So far, but because since it is e-learning, I'm not sure whether the students, you know, now do you know how to create database after when you see my demo, how to on the how to get in the show how to do it. But is there any students still not sure how to create the database? If you are anything you are not clear, even when the things that I demonstrate in the video, right? If you are not clear, this is important for your part 2. For your project, right, you don't need to deploy on cloud. You don't need to deploy your system. You can just remain it as a local host. So, but make sure that you all integrate all the codes together. Week 14 we will do the presentation. But so far, because since it is e-learning, I'm not sure. Do you have any problems to run the sample codes or to set up the database using the sample codes? And when I do the demo, do you have a problem understanding how it works? Anything you want to ask for lecture 9 and lecture 10? Is there any students that still don't know how, not sure how to set up the database connection? And if you want, if you still not clear, you want me to show again or explain again, I can explain it during the lab session. If not, then let's anyone want me to explain the sample codes for lab again during the lab sessions on Friday? Because now I don't think I have enough time, but if there's anything that I can explain now, especially for those students until now, if you're still not sure how to set up the database, how to do the database connections, or you try to run the sample codes, you're still not able to do it, then you better let me know. Then Friday I can repeat again to demonstrate to you again on Friday. Anyone got any problem to set up the database, and then better raise hand now. Anyone still got problem to set up database or to execute the sample codes? Anyone? If you have problem, you better raise hand now. No problem, really no problem. Huh? For those who are here, I mean, for those who are not here, I'm not sure whether the student knows today we have class or not. Okay, really no problem, because I'm also afraid that later you all, because it's e-learning, I'm really not sure how the student can understand the codes, can understand how it works or not. For session, right, I including for the students that are in charge for login, if you want a more detailed course related to login, I already share the complete step-by-step guide. If you open this website, the link that I share in Spectrum. For the students, if you want a more detailed step-by-step guide for the PHP login script, you can come to this, because they give you there are more details, things that more step-by-step, more details they have introduced here, and they also have sample codes. Okay, so if you are for those that in charge for login, you can have a look at this. If you are working for login and you want a more detailed for login registration or sign up page, because this one they include more details codes, but in the lab I didn't include so much details because they are since this is already a more detailed guidelines, and for lab I only give you as exercises. At least you understand the concept of session. But if you want to for your project, if let's say you want to include more detailed login scripts with session, you can look at this tutorial. They also have they have all the sample codes they included here with some good explanations. So if you want the more detailed explanation, you can refer to this. This is a good tutorial that I found online, and so normally I will share with the students. So this is one of the thing. Another thing also, if let's say any students who are interested to look at how to make login with Google account using PHP, this is another tutorial that you can refer. Using the Google API credentials. So I mean, this is something that of course not covered by the syllabus, something additional that I share with you. So if for those that if you want to learn more, you are interested to learn more or to explore this, then you can open this link to have a look. So for the project, right, because if you see here, actually I have added one link for PHP-MyAdmin how to export database, because for you when you submit your project files for the final project, right, I want you to give me the export the database file and give me the database files as well, so that when I do the checking or this and that, I can refer back to the database file. So this is I just quickly show you, this is the link that I gave you will allow you to see how you can export database in PHP-MyAdmin. So for example, now if let's say I want to export lab9 database, I click the database name, then come to you click export. So you choose quick export method. You can choose quick. If you want to export everything, then you can choose the format to export. So let's say if you want to, for the project you can export as SQL. Okay, so you choose the export method, quick, and just leave it as SQL. Click go. Then it will prompt out to ask you to. Okay, so I will be able to export the lab9 database. So if you open the lab9 database, okay, you can see this is the file that I can easily import. So I want you for the project, right, you need to export your database so that I can check your database as well. So this is something that I want you all when you submit the so I also added the URL here, because sometimes if let's say even if you want to try to play around to how to do the since you already learned in the lab, right, how to create the database. If you build a database servers, if you want to just play around using your own database or this and that, then you can also you need to you can export your database, but make sure you see what are the files that format that they require by them. At least you can export. And for the project purpose, I need your database to check how you what are the tables you have, what are the database content. Okay, so for the this is so far. Do you have any problem you want to ask, or you want me to repeat any lecture or lab session? Anything you want me to explain more on Friday? If you have, you better add. You can write in the chat. So you can write in the chat later. Not for you. For those students, if you still it's e-learning, so I cannot control whether you will watch my video or not, you will download my code or not. So for those students that haven't done, please do it because this is important for your project. Online test result, I already released the marks on Spectrum. So if you go to Spectrum, because I want to release it earlier and then I forgot to post it. So yesterday I already posted. If you click here, then you can see your result. But for project, right, for P1 and P2, I will the presentations and report, I will only give you grade. So this one is the test is in the quiz format, so I give you the exact marks that you got from the MCQ questions. But for the project, right, I will only show you the grade you are getting A minus or B plus. So all this will be okay. So I will finalize the marks for the P1 this week and release the marks also. And you will today or tomorrow you will receive some quick some some of the feedback, the presentations I want to do today or tomorrow to email to you. So Friday, if you still have anything to ask me for the project, you can ask me. Another thing, week 14, the presentation schedule, right? I want to confirm with you all because I'm thinking to use that the same schedule for the presentation. Because so far, to use the I can going to same thing. The groups that are going to present in these sessions will be the same because some of the groups that have mixed theory group. May I know, do you all have class after my class, right? Like in week 14, after my class is until 1 o'clock. What do you have any class from 1 to 2 p.m. For today? Do you all have class after at 1 to 2 p.m. Today or normally do you have class 1 to 2 p.m.? Do you all have class? If you have class, you raise hand after my class. So is it for all the students? So you have class starting from 2 o'clock, is it? Because actually I want to schedule for 20 minutes. So for these 3 groups, I can schedule 20 minutes easily. Is it okay if because if you all don't have class, is it okay that I schedule to a longer time than I add if you all are okay with that, if you don't have, but later I will double check with the team leader to find out whether any group that can present up from 1 to 2. For the groups that are going to present during the lecture session, right? I will contact this group leader to confirm which group can present after 1 p.m. so that I will at least I can because I want to increase the presentation time to 20 minutes since it is the final part and I want you to do the demonstrations of the database as well. Okay, so for later for the groups that will present during the lecture sessions, these group leaders, I will contact you to double check whether you can you and your group member can, because some students maybe have class, so I need to double check and the group leader help me. I will send you email to double check whether you can if let's say there are some groups that I arrange like from 1 to 2, which group will be available for that. Okay, so just let you know, I will set like 20 minutes for each group for the final presentation. So I will release the schedule later after I check with the groups that are going to present during the lecture session. For project report, right? I just quickly shows you one of the sample because there are students that asking me how to do. I just quickly shows you one of your okay, in the template, the report guidelines, right? Because I think some of the parts that the students are confused what you should put. So of course for I want you to highlight for requirements, all these I think don't have problem. For front end and back end, right? I want you to highlight the main things, some of the main things that, like for example, in terms of quality of web applications, let's say to improve the security. What are the techniques that you use? Let's say sometimes, for example, do you hash your password? Or some of the things that let's say any things that you have to you have to do to improve the usability or improve the performance or certain things. So of course for 3.1 you don't need to show me every single source code. Just highlight some important features and show me the screenshot, so that at least normally, right, in the past, your seniors, what they will do is they will highlight to me, they will show me some main part, each person that in charge for their features, right, they will so for example, I just open one to show you. Okay, so for example, this one, this is one of the this is the sample of the from what your seniors have given to me. They highlight some of the main things that they have done using CSS, this and that. Some of the key things in the front end. As I want you to highlight. Let's say if you use Bootstrap, what are the Bootstrap components that you use, or certain things. In anything specific that you want to highlight to me, because some of the things is common, right? Like in the Bootstrap, things that you use also include the screenshot of the things. Just you can another thing for backend one. So some students, they will you don't need to show me everything, but you just at least you explain some of the main things that you use, and if you have apply sessions, then you also tell me how you apply the sessions, and there are certain things you can show me some sample code, and some this is some of the students, they also show me some screenshot of the codes that they think is important for them to do certain things. You don't need to show me every single lines of codes. If possible, just highlight to me. Like for example, for backend, right? Let's say if you have for this to help to do for front end also, if let's say to do the navigations, you apply the models in Bootstrap, or what components, or in CSS, what is your focus in the design, and you will standardize how you improve the navigation. You can highlight some things to show me your effort. For backend also, let's say if you have applied something extra in your coding, in your algorithm, any specific algorithm that you want to highlight to me, like in this part, when you want to do this processing, you actually, this is the algorithm that you write, or this is the function that you write to do this processing, then you highlight to me, and you can also explain the code, how the code works. Every single line, I want the main part of your system, like each feature. For example, if now you are going to demo to me in the part 2, right? What are the things that you want me to really know that you have very good programming? So you will tell me, let's say if you are the one that in charge for login, registration login, you can tell me that, okay, I have hashed the password using what functions I have I have encrypted the password, I have hashed the password, store it using this function. Then you show me the code. Then you can tell me that, oh, okay, I also apply sessions. The sessions has been applied to do what? Then you prove to me to show the session code. Let's say for registration and login, and log out, something like that. Then let's say for other parts, if you are doing searching, then you apply some algorithm. How you do the searching? You search by what? Search by keyword or search by what? Then you explain to me something important. Then the database, some of the main things from the database design. Then you want to tell me that show me for the features, the main features, how for your own function normally. Supposingly, you should update the part for your function. Everyone should contribute to this report. If you're in charge for this feature, then you add in the part related to this feature or these functions for your part. That will be easier for you rather than other students help you to do. So any main data operations for your features, then you can show me. So of course, the techniques here, because I know some student, maybe you will do something to improve the usability aspect. For example, maybe the way how you design, you want to tell me that, oh, I purposely design this way so that user can quickly get the result, or they like for example, maybe I have applied, let's say you you have actually crawl to some API, something additional, or that you worry that I may not notice it, and you don't have enough time to present during the presentation. But make sure you highlight to me that you will be able, and the database part, of course, I want to see each feature, right? When I access you, I will check whether your for this particular function, you can do the CRUD function or not. You will be able to retrieve your file, you can add a new record, you can update, you can delete or not. So supposingly the database, when you do the demo, final demo also for your function, you have to show me that you have to show me and prove in the database, like when you create a new thing, add a new thing, then you once you add, then you show me in the database a new record has been added. When you update something, you show me in the database that it is updated successfully. When you delete something, then show me the database this thing has been deleted successfully. I want something to prove your code really works. But when the code not working, or only some certain part working also, never mind, at least you show me and let me know which part is working. So, and other things that this is more like the lessons learned part. Yes, I want you to see your dummy data as well. So export everything, export like what I show you, the whole database, include the data. I want everything, because later if let's say I want to, if there are any issues, I want to import your database and deploy your system, I don't have to find you again. I can just deploy it, create the database, and then I can run your system. And also give me the sample login and login details. Because for example, in your database, right, you already have some users, then you already give me your admin users or some sample users that I can use to log into your system. Give me some of the credentials that I can use to run your system if I need to deploy it. So of course, if you're during presentation time, if you already present carefully in details, then I don't have to check so details. I will just open your code to look at your code. But if there are some issues, then I have to deploy, right? Then I need the database, I need some credentials to quickly do the setup lah. If anything that I need to know to any details, then you have to give me a README file. Okay, so this one later, I think Friday, again, I will show you, if you are still not clear about which part of the project report you want to write, ask me again. Okay, reminder, lab test, we are going to have lab test 23rd of June, week 15, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please block your time. So I will upload the test questions on Spectrum, and we will have a live sessions, online sessions for me to invigilate via Teams. Okay, so after you complete, after 2 hours, when you complete, you upload submit the answer on Spectrum. But if Spectrum downright email your answers to my email, just send your answer to my email. If any problem to Spectrum happen to Spectrum, just email your answers to me. Okay, so for Friday, you all. Last thing to ask, you want me to repeat any explanations or not? If you really don't know how to set up the database, want me to show me, explain again, you better raise your hand now. If not, then Friday lab sessions, I will just demonstrate something else that I think interesting on the cloud in the cloud deployment. Because I also want to test the sending email functions. There is one tutorial that I found. They also shows how to send email, but I need to test the code to confirm it is working correctly before I can share to the student. Because if let's say you all don't want me to repeat the database thing, anyone want me to repeat the database part or not on Friday? You can raise your hand. If not, you better go through my video again. But Friday, if you still want to ask me, you can still ask me. If not, Friday, I will show something, another demo for some other things that I think additional thing that I want to show for this course, for something additional lah. Okay, so I will end the recording now. But if you got other things, you can send me email. Please send me email if you have any things that you want me to explain or to cover for the database, for especially for the past 2 weeks that we learn as e-learning. Anything that you want me to highlight or to repeat the explanations, you let me know. Send me email or send me a message in Teams. If I didn't receive anything, then I will proceed to show something else on Friday for the related to the cloud deployment, to do some demo, or I will also want to check if I'm able to test the code to send the piece for sending email. Then I will also demonstrate to you if I manage to try the code. Okay, so I will end the class now. Take care and stay safe.